Hello, welcome to season 2 of Pyrofork. Pyrofork album reviews. This is a more epic comeback than Game of Thrones.
Yeah, you're now about to witness the strike of your wife's boyfriend. What's up?
Okay. So today,
Your wife's boyfriend, Arabian Prince from NWA.
today I can talk about the first 2 NWA albums.
The only two, really.
Yeah, only 2. Which is Straight Outta Compton, then N-Words for Life.
It's called FL for Zaggin. I just call it FL for Zaggin.
I'm just gonna call it N-Words for Life because
I call it Gamers for Life.
Gamers for Life.
And for the duration of the video, if there's any point where I have to say the N-word, I won't. I'll just say Gamers.
So that's gonna be the code word for the N-word. This podcast, Gamers.
Gamers.
So you messaged me as like, can we review these albums? I'm like, sure. I was actually thinking about doing more of these videos recently.
Yeah.
And I didn't really know what album to really start with or anything, but I was like, okay, we can do NWA.
Yeah. I've been reading this book. Let me just Google because I forget the name of the author. It's called Original Gangstas. It's this really good biography about West Coast hip hop scene from the late 80s to early 90s. It covers NWA, it covers Tupac, talks about the Biggie feud. The book is by Ben Westhoff. It's really well researched, it's really good, really compelling because the story of the scene was really compelling. So I just went back and revisited the 2 NWA albums again. When I first listened to Straight Outta Compton, I was a young kid who really wasn't really into hip hop that much. Most hip hop I would listen to was like Gorillaz. But I don't know. The movie came out around this time, and I went to see that. I really enjoyed seeing the movie, and I really liked Straight Outta Compton as an album. I was, this is just kind of my introduction to rap, really. And I never really liked the second album, but I'll go into that later. But now, now that I've experienced, more hip hop, these albums, well, at least the first album, it really hasn't aged that well. And, a lot of people tend to agree, including Dr. Dre himself, who really thinks that Straight Outta Compton he has really poor production. And I don't think it's poor, but it's definitely very aged. But I think there are a lot of highlights that we can go into when we go through the album.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on as a whole?
I don't think I don't think Straight Outta Compton is an awesome album. I think it's a good album. I think it I don't see it as a lot of people. Well, I understand if you grew up around it and when that album came out as this because it was pretty edgy when it came out, but
yeah, I won't deny that it has the importance it has on culture and the hip hop scene. It was really big stepping stone for abrasive and edgy music that could make it mainstream.
Yeah, because there weren't very many at that time. 80s rap was really tame for the most part.
Very tame.
And NWA, yeah, it was really
even Public Enemy, as political as they weren't really edgy.
No,
this was like meant to shock, and it's kind of crazy how much, how shocking this was considered. And then you listen to it, it's quite tame. The second album, it actually does kind of get not really shocking, but definitely just kind of icky. The second album gets really icky because they just really tried to make you gross you out, and they kind of succeed in the second one. But the first one, it is a very aged record, but suppose we can go in track wise. The first title track, Straight Outta Compton, I think it's a classic. It's got
it's a classic.
really good beat.
Mm-hmm.
Ice Cube, I think everyone agrees Ice Cube's probably the best member.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's got some solid bars and really he's got a really great cadence voice. All real good. The beat is great. Though it's not though the beat stylings on this album are not emblematic of what Dr. Dre would go on to. I think on the second album is where you get that signature Dr. Dre sound that kind of carried over for his whole career. Really, this is it's something though. He really works well with the break beats and the funk samples. Makes a really cool sound. Second verse, MC Ren, it's okay.
Yeah.
MC Ren is kind of a weak link to me. Even though he did go, yeah, I like Easy E much better than MC Ren, even though MC Ren kind of fed most of Easy E's lyrics anyway. But I just don't really like his cadence. A lot of his lyrics are just kind of goofy to me, which are apparent quite later in the album.
Probably the reason why a lot of people don't talk about him that much.
Yeah, MC Ren is just kind of he's there, and then you got Easy E. You know, not brilliant, but just his voice is really. I always found his voice real cool. They kind of like played into the fact that he was short, and they actually, even though he was like the oldest member, they would lie and say that he was younger, just because like I think they wanted to go for an angle that he was like a psycho kid, like to make it I don't know creepier. And yeah, he's got a really nice high voice, and I like that. So yeah, for an opening song, I think Straight Outta Compton is classic, and the next track, yeah, probably even more classic, Fuck the Police, an anthem, an expression, a cultural stone. This song got them arrested, not arrested, but actually did actually get them arrested because they got arrested for playing it live at a concert, but it got them sniffed in by the FBI. It was very controversial and everything like that. And it's a fun song. It's a real meaningful song too. Really good beat. The opening closing skits I think are pretty funny. Before they would just end up getting grating in a lot of 90s hip hop. Some skits got real bad. They knew how to keep it to a minimum. I love this song. It's a classic. Gangsta Gangsta is next. Another real good one. It's a nice Cube track for the most part until Easy comes at the end. It's got a great hook. The verses are real nice. The beat's cool. What I found out about the beat is that it technically samples a song called "Weak in the Knees," but I found this out reading the original Gangsta's book. That actually kind of confirmed something I was suspecting, that he would actually just recreate the samples with live instruments in the studio so you can manipulate them better. And I thought that was real cool because I actually kind of do that on my own. Because sometimes when I'm making beats, I'm like, I don't want to sample this because it's really difficult to isolate all the instruments. So I'll just play it myself. And that's what he did. He just covered that. It's real cool. And I really love the little spoken little bits in between each verse. Oh, you sophisticated motherfuckers, hear what he has to say. I like that. You?
See, this album, I have a lot to say about NWA and maybe each of them, like the scene and stuff. The album to me, I listened to this album first time was it was probably when the movie came out, Straight Outta Compton. I heard Fuck the Police and stuff maybe the first time like in middle school or something like that, but when I listened to this album the first time, I remember just being meh, and then I listened to it like I've listened to this maybe 3 times in my life. The second I don't really remember what it was, but I did at one point. Then recently I had it on while I was like doing other things, and I wasn't really paying attention, and there really like the only tracks that really stick out to are the iconic ones. The album just kind of, I'm not really a fan of the 80s rap stuff.
Yeah.
I like Wu-Tang and Tribe, De La Soul,
as far as old school hip hop, the East Coast was the king because the stuff they did the way they rapped, the beats, the samples they use, that still boils over in today. Like there's stuff like Illmatic by Nas that's so fresh and like could come out today and just fit right in.
It just it's not, that's why I say it's not a bad, Straight Out is not a bad album. It's actually a good album, but it's not, it's, to me it's not like, I don't really like think it's awesome, or I just kind of think it's one of the, it's a good album, but it's not like I don't really put it in high regards as a lot of people do. I'm not a fan of old school West Coast rap in general. I know it's very it's, you can't say that because I live on the West Coast, and that's like, that's the thing, you can't say that over here, but I'm
from Minnesota, and I haven't even heard Atmosphere, and apparently I'm supposed to, but I haven't yet. Guess they're like, Atmosphere is like Minneapolis's big hip hop duo. Never listened to them.
I live in Oregon. The biggest rapper's Amine. Yeah, that's all we have is Amine.
There's a lot of filler on this album, and what's great is like not like some of the filler is even just like pulled from a previous NWA compilation album called NWA and the Posse. The 8 Ball, Compton's in the House, and Dope Man are remixes of those original ones. And as far as like 8 Ball and Dope Man, these remixes actually are worse. The original version for Dope Man has a great little opening skit. Some guys trying to pawn off a gold chain for some dope. They use the full they use that synth line, this is called the funky worm, the ooh. They actually play that in the original version, and then they cut that out of the remix, and it makes it sound weaker. It's like, how'd you do that? You ruined the song. Yeah, so other tracks on the album, this when the less memorable stuff starts to happen here. Yeah, If It Ain't Rough, which is just a very boring MC Ren song with a really boring beat. It's just do 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 do. And now also he says Ren is a villain and you're a hostage. You should stick your head in the ground like an ostrich. That line he repeats on the second album in the song Real Gamers. Prisoner like a hostage. You should have covered your head like an ostrich. Like, wow. The rap itself is that rhyme is so bad. And then
I remember that's the one I actually like laughed when I heard it.
You should cover your head like an ostrich.
That's the one that bar that Eminem ripped off recently.
Oh,
remember that line? Isn't that freestyle? The last one he did, where he's like, "You get your head in the sand like an embarrassed ostrich." Get an ostrich voice.
Gosh. Parental discretion is advised. It's a pretty decent posse track. You've got everyone on there, including the DOC. Now, the DOC was a friend of Dr. Dre, and honestly, and like he was probably like a better rapper than everyone else in the band. But unfortunately, he just had like a really fast flow and everything like that. Unfortunately, he got into a car accident right after his first album, which destroyed his throat, and now he can hardly talk. It's very rough. And it kind of sounds cool, but like obviously he just doesn't have enough energy to do full rap now. So he ended up kind of ghostwriting for people at that point. Real sad as he's highlighted on this track. And yeah, it's a pretty decent track. And then you've got 8 Ball remix. Doesn't sound that much different from the original, but I like the original a little better. It just has a bit more space to it. And 8 Ball is essentially just Boys in the Hood 2. It samples Boys in the Hood. The bass line is exactly the same. It's an easy track, pretty fun. Something like that is very boring. Express Yourself, now that's another classic. It's real fun. It's clean. That it's like their cleanest song. So it's just like a fun Dr. Dre song. Led. It's about expressing yourself. The beat's nice. It's a fun song to listen to in the summer when you're just chilling out and stuff. But the best line is when he says, "I don't smoke weed or obsess because that's gonna give you brain damage, and brain damage on the mic don't manage nothing." Which aged pretty poorly by the time the Chronic came out. Mm-hmm. Compton's in the House feels like something like that. It's just basically the same thing. It's real boring. It's a real boring track. Really forgettable. I Ain't the One. It's pretty funny. This is one of those songs they did where they just like deliberately made fun of women in a very provocative way. Just like, oh, these so annoying. And that would come back a lot on Ice Cube's career. Eazy-E definitely had a lot of women trashing songs. Famously, you know, Dr. Dre's got Bitches Ain't Shit. And he's also got famously his multiple allegations of abuse. But this is not a very abusive song. You'll get those on the next album.
Yeah.
But this is just sort of like bitches be annoying. It's pretty funny. Dope Man remix. I mentioned this, how the remix is very poor, but as a song, Dope Man's real fun. It's really them just trying to do a License to Ill kind of thing. Really has that loud Rick Rubin sound. I think it's a real fun song. It's real fun to sing along to. Ice Cube is really visceral and like it's probably the best anti-drug PSA, because you know you got all those really stupid ones. You know, this is your brain on drugs. You know that shit doesn't work. But if you get Ice Cube in your face saying, "If you smoke cane, you a stupid motherfucker," that's a really good way to break it into the kids. Quiet on the Set, real boring. It's just If It Ain't Rough 2. Really on. The only memorable thing about it to me is the Steve Miller "Get Your Money and Run" sample that you can hear in there. And the last track, it's probably the most dated one, which I almost kind of love. It's called Something to Dance To. It's the only track to prominently feature Arabian Prince, who is a member of the band, who is on the album cover, but it's just kind of been erased from the annals of history and the movie. He was not in the movie.
Yeah, that's how I thought was weird.
Yeah, but like I've heard him in interviews, and he seems kind of cool. But he really wasn't meant for the gangster rap stuff. He was there to make electro dance. That's what he does here. Just they have like all the trademark stuff. You got the ding 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 from the TR-808 machine. It's fun, and I've always liked to just be contrarian and say, you know, I think Arabian Prince is the best. And that's Straight Outta Compton. It's a classic by history, not really by content. There are some very memorable tracks, some real fun tracks that I come back to all the time, but individually. As an album, I rarely put it on in full anymore.
I'm being honest. I think I gave it a damn out of 10.
A damn out of 10.
Yeah.
So after Straight Outta Compton, Ice Cube left the band because he was disillusioned with he was really sick of being poor, and he was not getting any money from Jerry Heller. Real shitty, and a totally reasonable way to leave. Reasonable reason, a good reason to leave the band. And so then they released an EP called 100 Miles and Running, which very forgettable. There's a song about sucking balls, and then there's one called Commercial, which is just a misspelling of commercial. And it literally just features like the beat from the prelude to their second album. And then it also has the song Real Gamers, which I mentioned, which ended up being on the second album anyway, but it also has is the song that calls Ice Cube Benedict Arnold, which led Ice Cube to create the song No Vaseline, which is a very visceral diss track that I really like. It was very brutal. And then that leads us to the second album, FL for Zaggin, which is
Gamers for
Life in reverse.
I actually don't think this is a good album.
This is a bad.
This is NWA's encore album, like Eminem's encore. That's what this is, pretty much.
Yeah, it's exactly like that. Really stupid songs, really offensive songs, really gross songs. It's like if it's like the song Fact by Eminem if that was just every song. Well, there are some good songs and I will talk about them, but this is a product of not having Ice Cube, who was the best one, not having the DOC as a writer but not as a rapper, because you know his voice is DOA. DOC is DOA. And so you're mostly relying on MC Ren. They've got a lot of guest writers who are not from NWA, and you got DLC, and MC Ren is carrying the entire group because you don't have Ice Cube anymore, so he's got to ghostwrite for Dr. Dre, who features more as a rapper, and for Eazy-E. It makes for a mess of an album. But the saving grace of this album, I think, is the production. The production is much better.
Yes,
Dr. Dre really gets into his own. It's not as good as the Chronic and Doggy Style, which will come later. With
I actually would like to do
that would be a nice double review.
I would like to do the Dr. Dre albums actually.
Yeah, that would be a nice. But anyway, yeah, and he does that. He really gets close to that G-Funk thing. The much better production definitely sticks out a bit more. Yeah, so you've got Prelude, which is just a prelude. The beat is kind of repetitive. Real Gamers Don't Die is actually probably my favorite song off the album. It's got a good celebrate I Just Want to Celebrate sample, which is really juxtaposes it just about dying. The guitar line's cool. They got the menacing church bells. I think it's a pretty good song. And you got Gamers for Life, the title song. It's a little bit. It's it's not as good as Real Gamers Don't Die. It's all right. The lyrics are pretty interesting because it's just kind of them it's them kind of like it's sort of the anthem of reclaiming the N-word for Black people, and I think it's cool for that. This album has a lot of sketches and interludes, and they're all bad. You got Protest Interlude, which is about just reporting being at an NWA concert, and then there's a shooting. Yeah, that's it. It's just screaming, and you're like, oh my god, it's so bad. It's almost great. Appetite for Destruction. It's a little loud. It's definitely one of the better songs. Not great. My favorite part is when they use a Richard Pryor sample near the end. And I really degrade you. Oh, those people were resisting arrest. I was listening to a Richard Pryor album much later after first listening to this album. I was like, hey, wait a minute, that's from NWA. You got Don't Drink That Wine. It's an old bum screaming, and then a barbershop quartet, or not some like Temptations ripoff of high-pitched vocals and singing, don't drink that wine. It's bad. And the punchline is that instead of being mothers against drunk driving, it's motherfuckers against drunk driving. Genius. Always Into Something. This is pretty good. It's probably one of the first G-Funk songs. It's got that funky worm sound. It's nice, chill, laid back beat. And yeah, it's definitely one of the better songs, but it starts to get really bad really soon. You got Message to BA, which is an interlude again. It's just like them calling out Ice Cube. It's not really funny at all. And Ice Cube would eviscerate them later. Real Gamers, those featured on the EP. Sorry, burp there. And pretty boring and unforgettable. And then this is when the album real takes a nosedive into just being edgy for the sake of being edgy. And it's not even funny. It's just like uncomfortable. You've got To Kill a Hooker, the interlude, in which they are trying to pick up a chick. Turns out that she is a woman of the night. And then they proceed to viciously attack her until she is no longer dead. And then that transitions into One Less Bitch, a very menacing sounding song with a very piercing saxophone sample about killing women. And then you have Find 'Em, Fuck 'Em, and Flee, which is just boring in its own right. It's just about fucking women. And then you've got Automobile.
This is the album the song that completely threw me off.
I don't know if I love it or hate it.
You know what it reminds me of? I know he's like trying. It's like trying to parody almost like Randy Newman or something. But
It kind of
you
sounds like
know,
Randy Newman.
you know what it reminds
Random.
me of more? It reminds me of that. There's that one track that sounds like this on that Corey Feldman album with
I
the
didn't even
piano.
listen
As
to that.
he's like, oh, yeah. He's like singing like. That's what this reminds me of.
Automobile is the key to all of this. It is the apex of music.
Yeah.
It's great. She swallowed it. It's gross.
It's just I don't mind some edgy music and stuff, but it's
but
all
this
this
is
like
like,
it's just lame. It's like okay, whatever.
but like I don't mind edgy lyrics either. But like when it has a line that's like, if you get a game of gamers together, the bitch will let you rape her, and they'll take a broomstick up the butt. And
When I heard that line, I was thinking to myself like, wait a minute, that's not actually rape. Because oh yeah, you can rape me. Oh yeah, oh that's not rape.
Very poor choice of words. And then it goes into a vignette about MC Ren leaving a movie theater. He sees a car. His friends are there, and they are gang banging the minister's 14-year-old daughter.
Oh yeah,
And she sucks a dick like a professionalized pro, which is I think a oxymoron. It's the same word. And he can't resist getting his dick baptized. So I believe this is the first Tekashi 6ix9ine song. I'm not sure. And so I guess Tequila Hooker is the first XXX Tentacion song. If we then we have I'd Rather Fuck You.
The name.
Which is a parody of something. Apparently, I forget what it was, but it's an Eazy-E sex jam. It's kind of funny. It's not as annoying as Automobile, but not as funny as Automobile. So the most standout thing to me, I found out from the original Gangsta's book, is that the lady singing near the end, kind of thing. That's Jewel, who was like a singer songwriter in the 90s, who had the "Who Will Save You So." She's a very popular coffee house singer, and then eventually made bad pop music in the 2000s. But she was ironically selling out. That's the biggest thing about this. Approach to Danger. It's a song that tries to sound cool and does kind of sound cool at the beginning, but just really forgettable. It's got a cool little intro where he's like, "What you want is to create an unexpected approach," and then shoots some people, and then it just goes into being loud and obnoxious. Then you've got 1900 to Compton interlude. It's just some guy yelling on the phone about trying to call home. And then you got Days of Wayback. It's 4:20 length, 4 minutes and 20 seconds, and that's all I can say about it. Yeah, FL4 Zaggin is a bad album, and it's weird because it actually charted higher than Straight Outta Compton, and I think it was the first rap album to chart like significantly high on like mainstream charts or something like that. Like
I'm on the Wikipedia. They have the reviews, and they're all like extremely high. Like it's a perfect album. I don't even know what that has to be years later because, or I don't even. I don't know. I just don't think
contemporary reviews can't be that great. Like
there's a Black Flag sample in the song.
Oh, that's cool. And then Rollins. It's a gamer's album.
It makes sense.
It really is, I joke, but like, because I just don't want to say the N-word, but it really is kind of a gamer's anthem. It's got a song about saying the N-word. It's got a song about assaulting women. Yeah, it's got a song about shooting people. This really is the gamer manifesto. It's definitely better than all that mumble rap shit.
Yeah, because you don't hear that in yeah. You know what's funny? I was thinking about this when I was listening these albums. I was like, it's funny how these old heads, they always talk about all they talk about is fucking bitches getting money and all. Have they ever listened to NWA?
Yeah, they fuck bitches, get money, and then they kill them afterwards. Oh man, and everyone's like, man, I remember back in my day, rap beefs were real and shit. It's like all the diss tracks, retro diss tracks, it's literally just gay jokes. It's literally just like, how many ways can we insinuate that the rapper I'm beefing with is gay? Eazy-E's dick smells like MC Ren's shit. Like, okay, it's just gay. Don't go. And actually, when Jerry Haller gets involved, it turns into a lot of Jew jokes too. Again, gamers for life.
Mm-hmm.
Gamers with attitude.
Gamers with attitude.
Gamers with attitude, and then R word. You got guar.
That should be a meme. It should have Photoshop like the Outta Compton album cover, like the Joker, and let's have all the different Jokers.
Yeah, MC Kylo Ren. Kylo Ren's a gamer.
Elliot Rodgers.
Make sure to go see Star Wars Episode 9,
The Rise of
Skywalker in theaters this December. And make sure to watch The Mandalorian on Disney Plus. And that Disney Plus app better be fucking worth it. If it's like the entire archive of Disney movies, then I will actually pay for that, because that's a deal.
That's actually, if they did that, that would actually be pretty cool.
Yeah,
because and there's Disney movies. I know this doesn't have to do with NWA, but fucking Disney movies don't like they're actually, a lot of them are hard to find. Like you can't even online because they block Disney movies. They're really, some are really expensive to buy. So that'd be cool if they had like a streaming thing for those movies.
I wonder if I don't know if that's going to include ABC content though. Like if they're just pulling everything. I don't know. But yeah, in conclusion, NWA, they really meant a lot for the history of rap, but looking back, it's aged pretty poorly. There's some absolute classics and then some absolute duds. And
I think Outta Compton's a classic for now. I don't think Gamers for Life is a classic. And that's the one that really nobody even talks about anyways. There's a reason.
Yeah. The only really importance it has is that it can demonstrate how poorly a band can flop when its crucial member leaves. And it's also a kind of a cool way to map out Dr. Dre's career, to see how well his production worked. And The Chronic came out not too long after, which is a pretty great album.
Yeah,
it's really great production. Like as far as like dated production is, I really enjoy Gangster Funk because it's great stuff to vibe out to. And Chronic, and then Doggy Style, which is probably even better. I don't know. Those are some great albums. We should talk about those.
Chronic 2001, I think's even better than those.
Oh, really? I've tried getting into it, and it just doesn't really vibe as much for me. Not sure.
And then Compton, which is funny. We have to talk about this.
I've never actually listened to Compton because I don't have Apple Music or anything.
This is what's funny is that when that album came out, remember what's it called? Detox?
Yeah,
remember?
That was the meme.
Detox. And then Struck. And then people were waiting. Oh yeah, I just made an album in a few months. It's called Compton. I listened to Compton a long time ago. It was actually good. It's not as good as his other stuff. But it's a solid. It's not like classic, or it's a solid. It's a solid album.
I just really don't care too much for like old rappers making new music.
Yeah,
it's the same with old rockers making new music. It's just go ahead and do you and stuff. Snoop Dogg features on every. That's actually there's a great part in the original Gangsta's book. There's a little sort of brief diversion where the author kind of talks about what everyone's kind of thinking of, how like Snoop Dogg is kind of like his presence becomes a joke. And not to say he's a joke, but like he features in mainstream stuff, and that's kind of just the joke. It's like Martha Stewart and Snoop Dogg, and they put him on everything, and it's it's something I always think about. It's like Snoop Dogg, he kind of just exists, and that's like the joke. It's like, oh, Snoop Dogg. Yeah, and that's why I like Snoop Dogg. He's an original G.
All right, I'm gonna stop this broadcast.
That has been Gamers with Attitude. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Hope to see you again soon.